Hi, how are you doing today, sweeties? My name is Angelica. It's a pleasure to meet you. Lovely, lovely name. Now, how are we feeling today, sweetie? Is everything okay? It's completely okay. If it isn't, this is a safe space for you to feel your emotions and feel at ease. Well, you are a Cancer. We'll get to the puns later, which basically means that you have a lot of emotional depth to you. You're very intuitive, you're very emotionally involved. You tend to give your all to a person, be very loyal and loving and caring. It's as if you're hypnotized by who your best friend or your significant other. You really do everything. You'll move mountains for the person. Consequently, you do tend to have a flip side to that energy, and if you've been hurt or if you feel like you've been betrayed, you will smash the mountain over them until they are non-existent. So we're going to begin this astrological read with a metaphysical evaluation, with a physical evaluation, and then an oracle read. How does that sound? Excellent, excellent. Well, in that case, let us begin. I'm going to need you to wear these gloves, though. These gloves are so that way, you don't get contaminated with any energy from like a Virgo or an Aries or a Libra or whatever. Just a really authentic read over what moves you. What is your battery? Extend your other hand like this. Perfect. Okay. There we go. Excellent. I'm going to put on a little bit of lotion so that we have a soft grip as to your read today. Okay. Communing with the stars. Communing with that beat. So let us have a good read. Okay. Let's begin. So, your element is water. Water is what makes you so emotionally in depth and intuitive. Water is what makes you so volatile yet powerful. Your emotions feel like a deep ocean. You really have a lot to you. You are truly capable of so much. Where a fire sign really explores the world and is at the edge of their seat and is really just zapping off, doing whatever. An air sign is more so chill, going with the flow, having a good time. An earth sign is more so practical, efficient, trying to get things done, trying to make sure that everything is secure and, practical, useful. A water sign is someone who is feeling the experience around them, really feeling everything going on. Being in tune with the vibes is definitely your trait, where an earth sign receives vibes and works on them, where a fire sign is the one potentially just setting the vibe and then just ripping the vibe away, where an earth sign is someone who the vibe kind of goes over their head. You are someone who is really the vibe. You are the vibe. Excuse me, I feel like I have one of my assistants' hair in my mouth. Nothing sexual, just they're hairy people, so their hair is all over the place. Now, your symbol is the crab. Let's break this down symbolically. So what this basically means is that you're soft on the inside. Have you ever seen Mr. Krabs without a shell? Have you ever seen a crab without a shell? Basically, you're very soft on the inside, very mushy-gushy. Without your shell, you would be left exposed. But you do have a shell, and so because you have this shell, it protects you from the outside. And not only that, but you have pincers. So anytime someone messes with you, they get the claws. And so where, for example, an Aries or a Taurus really butts them, they really headbutt them, they really combat them head on, you really just snip at them. You don't want to just push them back. You want to hurt them. In fact, a large amount of murderers and serial killers have been Cancers. So your stones, and we'll get into the meaning of the stones, are the moonstone, the pearl, and the peridot, or peridot. I can't pronounce that one correctly. So These stones will help you to balance your moodiness. I cannot emphasize this enough. Beautiful trait. It really does add a huge zest to life. But you are a bit moody, and it's because you're governed by the moon, and we will get into that too. It'll help you relieve stomach aches because your stomach is very much governed by your emotions. So if you're in a bad mood or in a turbulent mood, your stomach will end up, giving you a stomach ache. So it'll help relieve your stomach aches because it's just balancing your moodiness. It'll soothe your sadness and depression oftentimes because you have so much emotional depth to you. You are on the air happy if things are going well. If you're in love with someone, you're just so motivated and in the mood to just live. You are really invigorated and enthusiastic. All you do is just live for this other person that you're dedicated to. However, likewise, if you're like really impassioned by a subject or impassioned by a concept, I hope you don't mind me just removing my glasses or perhaps putting them back on. My ears are hurting. Sorry. As for it not going well, for example, during a breakup or during something a little more saddening, it'll definitely sink you into this deep cesspool that it will be difficult for you to get out. So it'll soothe you, so that way the sadness is less turbulent. Sometimes you can take a lot of comfort in sadness, and it feels like a cozy place to sort of rest up your hat. So it's not a bad place to be. It's just soothing you so that way you're not so turbulent, or that you take action. It lessens your loneliness, oftentimes being so emotionally involved in a world where they really run off of the practical, the rational, the fun, the superficial. It can feel very lonely. It's very difficult to find people who are willing to, or have the capacity to, open up so deeply with you. And because of that, you might feel like you're the only person in the world that is capable of so much. It'll help you strengthen your bones, bolsters optimism, so that way you're not so lost in the black hole, lends inner strength, and resists emotional instability. Your colors, because you are a moon child, you are governed by the moon, you are the definition of a moon child. Give me one sip. You will silence yourself. Silence yourself. Sorry. It was my assistant, my microphone. We call him Mike. So, your colors are pale colors, cream, and white. Minimalist. Think minimalist. You are someone who really will thrive not having your surroundings too congested with color, because the moment you start congesting yourself with maximalism, your internal mind will start to spin with stress and tension, and it'll start crunching on you. So you're gonna want to keep things a little more simple and relaxed. And your plants, trees, and shrubberies are the water lilies, the rushes, the heather, the cedar, the linden, the oak, and the holly. Now, we're going to conduct a physical examination, but before we do have an extra little perk. We actually discovered that you are, through demonology, through cosmology, through different sort of studies about the esoteric and metaphysical, you are actually prone to having these sort of superpowers, let's say. Now, for an Aries, for example, their superpower is absolute speed. Anything that has to do with physical strength, anything that has to do with, keeping their body in gear. For example, they would probably be more prone to bodybuilding or to really testing their limits in strength endurances. For a Taurus, their superpower is supernatural endurance, because they are the more nurturing, maternal, loving figure. Oftentimes they will kind of expose themselves to emotional hurt as well. So they are the type, because they are an earth sign, to endure that, because they are so practical, unlike a water sign where they will probably coast away in the pain. An earth sign will take that as a learning lesson and continue forward, particularly the Taurus. Gemini, their superpower is persuasion, because they know how to adapt. They can mirror you, they can sense what you're bringing to the table, and they will persuade you. They really know how to play the tables, play the cards around you. And as for you, my sweetie, your superpower is tele-empathy. What that basically means is that it's a combination of empathy and telepathy, which means that you can really sense the emotions of others and read their minds. So if you have a lot of Cancer in your chart, you are better able to read the minds of other people and sense their emotional states. You can do with that whatever you want. If you're someone who's more chaotic and prone to darker thoughts, you might turn to manipulating them and hurting them and finding their little insecurities and piercing into it. If you're someone who's prone to having a more positive aspect about it or a positive light to it, you might be someone who tries to encourage them to feel better about themselves. You know where their insecurity lies. You heal it for them. You mend it for them. Either or, either or. That's why when someone finds a Cancer, they can have very polaric opinions about them depending on what type of Cancer they found. Tele-empathy, as they state here, tele-empathy helps you determine, in Beyond Yoga, their little website here, I found it interesting. Tele-empathy helps you determine the underlying thoughts and emotions of your opponents. With this understanding, you can appeal to weaknesses and achieve victory in a more, manipulative way. No judgment, it's just what you're capable of. As you navigate life, you have a sense of compassion for those around you. If proper boundaries are not in place, then the sensitivity this gift provides can be overwhelming, as we can ascertain. We're going to see if it's been overwhelming in your physical chart. This overwhelm is rooted in the unconscious absorption of thoughts and emotions. Where does another end and you begin? Do you often have that sense of when you meet someone, you absorb them, and you oftentimes have a conflict of, are your thoughts, are your emotions, or did you absorb it from someone else? Establishing a strong sense of discernment can help you remedy this confusion. Boundaries, better understanding of yourself, meditation, reflection, good remedies for you. Now, your organs that we're going to examine today are your chest, breast, stomach, and diaphragm. So we're really going to be sticking to this, torso section of yours. I'm going to be taking your heartbeat and really analyzing these sections for you, okay? First, let's start with your chest and your breast, and then and your diaphragm, and then we'll go down to your stomach, okay? So take a deep breath for me. Now for your other, right there. Okay, right here down the middle. Okay. The reason these are your organs is because you are nurturing and very loving, you're very much a parental role, like a Taurus. Now let's go down to your stomach. Okay, take a deep breath in and out. Excellent. Do you find yourself being very much attracted to food, very much a big foodie? Yeah. Well, the reason you do that is because it very much represents the home, the hearth, warmth, coziness, a sense of love. It's truly the most genuine show of love that you can do for another person is feeding them. Now, your chosen favorite foods, or the ones that are best for you, are strawberry, champagne, and chocolate. Not only aphrodisiacs, but comfort foods. So, now let's begin your oracle reading. So we're going to be doing a 3-card spread. It's going to establish your foundation, your transition, and your conclusion. So where you're starting, what tools you need, and where you're going to end up. Now, before we do this, I'm going to set up the cards, and I want you to close your eyes. Close those little beautiful eyes of yours, my new child. And I want you to, in your mind, with your eyes closed, picture an image with water in it. Water. Any image at all that involves water. Now, as you have this image of water inside your head, I want you to continue really thinking about the details that come along with this image. I want you to think about the colors, the sounds, the situation. Where is it taking place? What does it look like? What's going on around it? And as you continue building this image, I want you to emotionally connect with this image. I know that you are very powerful when it comes to your emotions, and you can really connect with things easily. That's your superpower. So I want you to really emotionally connect with this image. And as you do, I'm going to give you insight as to what this image might or might not mean. Now, if you have an image, for example, that is more a bigger body of water, not just a glass of water, but a bigger body of water, like an ocean, a huge lake, something where from corner to corner all you see is water. You are someone who is so emotionally consumed. You are someone who is overpowered by your emotions. You really do have a sense of complete reign when it comes to your emotions. No boundaries, no protective sense, just someone who allows your emotions to reign. If your setting is, for example, a calm ocean or a calm lake, then you, even though you're consumed with emotions, even though you have emotions without boundaries, you don't find yourself currently hurt by them. It's not a turbulent state right now. It's not a state that you feel completely in chaos with. If it is a turbulent state, for example, a storm or a dark cloud raining down a storm or whatever, or the ocean waves being chaotic like a tsunami or whatnot, then you have some turbulence in you and you are definitely feeling a very chaotic state of your emotions right now. You're definitely in a lot of strong emotions right now. Now, if you thought about like a glass of water, you are someone who probably has a lot of earth in their chart. You are someone who has a pretty good balance as to how to manage their emotions. You are someone who's really done a lot of reflection or meditation and been able to kind of, practice on boundaries, practice on how to properly manage your feelings. And for example, if you saw a pool, likewise, a lot of emotional depth, but you learned how to contain it, you learned how to manage it. So with that in mind, I'm going to, likewise for rain, I think that if you pictured like a gentle rainy day, you're someone who feels, you haven't really practiced a lot of self-modulation. You do get sad a lot. You are prone to a lot of sadness, but it isn't a chaotic, turbulent sense of black hole sadness, like where's the end, what's going on, complete confusion. It's more so just kind of you're cozy in your sadness. You've reached that comfort stage in sadness where you would much rather be sad because it feels comfortable. You can't be disappointed when you're sad because you're already there. So we're going to be doing a 3-card spread, and when you have this energy, this emotion out inside of you, I want you to keep your eyes closed. And I'm going to spread out a deck of cards in front of you. I'm going to shuffle it up a little bit, that way you don't get the same results as any other sign before you. You get a completely fresh new read. And I want you to pick out 3 cards that really call to you. You take your time, no rush. If you decide to pick a card quickly as well, because it calls out to you that way, then by all means go ahead. The card that calls out to you will be emotionally calling out to your heart. It will feel like a tug. It'll feel like a gentle reach out for warmth or a hug. So, pick 3 cards. 3 cards, whichever ones make you feel, okay? Whichever ones make you feel connected. We have 1, okay? Okay. 2, excellent, you're doing such a good job. And 3, perfect. You did such a good job. You can open your eyes now, sweetie. Let's examine your cards. So I'm going to put this back into the box. I'm going to take a sip of my water really quickly because you're a water sign, so you remind me to take a drink of water, a sip of water. Furthermore, do you mind if this meeting is recorded? I can easily just erase all footage if you don't feel comfortable with it. Okay, thank you. I know you signed some waivers at the front, but I like to double confirm just to make sure you haven't changed your mind or you haven't forgotten or you fully understand what the situation is now that you see it. But with your permission, we'll continue to record. It's for clerical use, for training purposes now. let us spread out your cards. So once again, we have the first card, which is your foundations, your current state, the second card, which is your transitional state, and your last card, which is your conclusion. So the first card I got was Cindy Sherman. Cindy Sherman. So your life quote is, "Don't be yourself, be yourselves." So if you have a lot of Gemini in you, then this card really hits home. However, don't try to narrow yourself down. Don't try to make yourself small. Don't try to make yourself squeezed into this little box to please those around you. You are very chaotic. Whether you're in a healthy state or an unhealthy state, you're so emotionally involved in a analytical, rational society that you're always going to be the chaos, rebelling against their status quo. And a healthy mind really absorbs that rebellion. It really accepts it, and it really just operates knowing it's true and just kind of incorporating and internalizing that within. An unhealthy mind might think, that sucks. So don't make yourself small. Accept who you are, love who you are, and just accept yourself in every way that you manifest yourself. Now, for your work ethic, tell the truth in every fiction. This might actually placate your more darker side. Now, to every person, there's always a light and a dark, and that's perfectly fine. Your darker side is going to be someone who's a lot manipulative, very manipulative. Probably the most manipulative sign in the zodiac. So if you need to tell the truth, unless that person has earned your trust, unless you feel like that person really is someone that you can confide in without any question, without any doubt, they have proven themselves to you, literally proven themselves to you. You have to be very careful, because if they end up hurting you, or someone else, you believe someone that you can trust ends up hurting you, you really want to make sure that they just cannot, like you've proven that they just cannot. Tell the truth in the fiction. So that way, even if they do betray you, they can't really do you harm, because you were always kind of having that guard of, you never really knew me, I never really trusted you, I never really confided in you, and you couldn't access me. Now, your life inspiration is, take a good long look in someone else's mirror. So, since you are capable of tele-empathy, that is your superpower, you mind read, you really do feel the emotions of other people, you are the pinnacle empath, and that comes with being a dark empath, and that comes with being a helpful empath, for lack of a better words, like a light worker, essentially. So when you are looking at other people, interacting with other people, your inclination is going to want to understand the world through their eyes, not just sympathize with them, but empathize with them, see the world through their eyes, really experience what they go through, really incorporate who they are. When you look at yourself in the mirror, if you're not careful, you are probably going to see the person that you spent a lot of time with reflected back to you in that mirror. So that is your current state. Now, your transitional state is Gustav Klimt. Your life quote is, every portrait is a self-portrait. Now, because artists tend to be very emotionally involved, they tend to be people that are very in tune with their emotions and conveying their thoughts out there for the world, whether it be writing or art, just anything. You tend to be someone who's very connected with the works of arts, because you only resonate with that is true and deep and earnest and vulnerable, intimate, and raw. So every portrait is a self-portrait. Every work of art, every book you read, every painting you see, every musical, every song you hear, every work of music that you hear is going to be a reflection of you. These are all the different components that make you you, because you are ultimately in tune with the deepest facets of a human being possible. So you are that energy that person is showing in that work of art. Now, your work ethic. If no group will have you, start your own. So where in this card, you have to learn boundaries. You have to learn how to really appreciate your talents, how not to be, carried away or heartbroken or exposed to other people's betrayals. You will start to value yourself. You will really start to value who you are, what your energy is, and you will really only associate with those that best support your energy and allow you to be who you are. And not only that they support your energy, but that you are the starter of whatever group that you're in. You are the person who sets the rules, not in a leader follower sort of way, but you are the person that says, if you're going to socialize with me, this is what it is. This is how it's going to be, and I'm not compromising. And as for life inspiration, like gold, eroticism fluctuates with the times. So, you are someone who, in a more intimate state, might find yourself very heated and very cold, for lack of a better words, or to be tactful. So just sort of allow yourself to flow and be without judgment, feeling your deepest passions, feeling how you naturally and organically are, without any restrictions, limitations, or expectations as to what you're supposed to do in a certain situation. You just very much are the vibe. You're just doing, being, and existing. And as for your last card, which is your conclusion, Paul Gauguin. Now, your life quote is "Go far to go far." So, take yourself out as far as possible. You're so emotionally driven. You're so powerful in what you can accomplish. It's like Jean Grey. You are Jean Grey. If you're going to be any superhero character, Jean Grey, Dark Phoenix, and then on top of that, when she's, not Dark Phoenix, Jean Grey, that's who you are. So you are capable of so much. You are so powerful. So go far. Let yourself really push forward and enjoy the energy that you just have, the force that you are. Your work ethic, exaggerate the subtle, share the unseen. So when it comes to the tiny little details that you alone really perceive when it comes to hanging out with other people, share those details, because there might be other people who've also seen them, and if they've seen them, that's kind of the cue card for you to know that they are on your level. And as for share the unseen, same thing. Once you kind of tell people, you know that they're part of your tribe, you know that they're seeing the world the way you see it, and it makes you feel less alone. And as for your last life inspiration quote, this is to inspire you. Only an outsider sees inward. Only an outsider sees inward. So, oftentimes if you feel like you're being very introspective to a point where you're kind of losing yourself to thought loops, you're losing yourself to all of these emotional complexes, it's because you're not currently in tune with your core. Much like an eye of a tornado, once you're inside the tornado, you no longer are being swinged around in the wind. Likewise, or better yet, a hurricane, considering how you're a water sign. Likewise, when you're really in tune with who you are inside, you're no longer being drifted into this thought loop, into this, because ultimately you're just throwing the emotions and thoughts of other people and you're being lost in it. So once you're inside of that eye, once you really are inside of yourself, just at your core, through meditation or reflection, you will no longer feel subject to those chaos. Now I'm going to be removing your gloves very quickly. Thank you, and moving this glove very quickly. Thank you. How did you like your reading? How did you like your examinations? Was it good? Good, I love hearing that. Now, do you have any questions for me? Excellent. So in that case, please do take care. Please do incorporate what I've, inculcated, and please make sure that you are making sure that you're, inside of yourself at your core. Take care. Bye-bye.